How many times have you been interacting with a girl when suddenly she takes something small and trivial and turns it into a big deal in all of the wrong ways? If this has happened to you, you've just been tested. A guy with no knowledge of what's really going on in these situations will just get angry, frustrated, and become bitter towards girls. However, the guy who fully understands why girls test guys and how to handle them, he's the one who will win in the long run, not just with girls, but in all of life. As men, we have to understand that life is like one never-ending stream of tests, coming at you from all different angles and at different times. We don't always pass every test, but the more tests that we pass, the greater the treasures that life will send our way. Now, the first thing that you need to know is why girls test you. When you don't understand the true reason why girls do these things, you'll just give up on them and turn bitter. About a week ago, I made a video about how to confidence test other guys, which is really just advice for how to handle yourself when other guys test you. Now, some guys think that girls are the only ones testing them, but the truth is, you will be tested by everyone around you at some point. Your parents will test you, your friends will test you, the people you work with will test you, and at some point, even your dog will test you. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make as a man is to think that the world works according to some magical blueprint in your head. With every video that I make for you guys, I try to help you see the world for what it truly is, and not what you wish it would be. The truth about how humans think and act in social situations and in life isn't always pretty, and you have two options to deal with it. You can either ignore the truth or embrace it. Every single time that you are tested by a girl or by life, it's an opportunity in disguise. Think of it as a chance to grow stronger and become the man that you were designed to be. You'll hear guys say that girls who test them aren't worth their time. This is merely an illusion. The truth is that all girls are biologically programmed to test you and to see what you're made of. Wanting a girl to not test you is like asking the sun to not rise in the morning. It's going to do what it was literally programmed to do. At the core, every girl who's interested in you wants to know if you're man enough to lead and love her. Think about this. For long-lasting attraction to exist between two people, there must always be a masculine-feminine dynamic. What does this mean? It simply means that one person must play the biological role of a man, and the other must play the role of a woman. Whenever a girl tests you, she's basically checking to make sure that you can still lead and love her. All girls have different ways of testing you, but in many cases, it involves some sort of drama over something trivial. Taken at face value, using your logistical mind, you're probably thinking to yourself, how could she possibly be that mad over something so ridiculous? The truth is that it's much deeper than that. Something that all guys need to understand is that these tests occur on a subconscious level. A girl will never actually say to you, hey buddy, I'm testing your confidence to see if you're really the man that I'm attracted to, because the testing occurs on a subconscious level. The testing works like this because it allows a girl to find out crucial information about you without actually asking you. Think about this. If a girl were to ask you if you're a good father, you could easily lie and say yes. Now, if she were to ask you how well you handle stressful life situations, once again, you could easily just lie to her and say yes. Girls intuitively understand this, which is at the heart of why they test you. Put simply, the testing allows the girl to get the answers to these questions while eliminating your ability to lie about them. And she must find out before, during, and continuously throughout your relationship with her. All of these things that she does is primal behavior. It needs to be this way because girls need to know that the man that they choose will give them the security they need for themselves and for their offspring. Now that we understand why girls test us, it is important to understand the three types of men that girls test for and avoid at all costs. Now, the first type is the weak man, and this is a guy who has no morals, no principles, and no spine. In other words, this is the pushover or the nice guy. Now, since he can't even stand up for himself, a girl cannot trust him to stand up for her. The major defining trait of the weak man is not being able to stand up for himself. Now, the second type of man is the one who doesn't know what he wants. Whether it's girls or just about anything else in life, this type of man is always unsure of himself and he can never make decisions for himself. Now, the third type of guy that girls test for and avoid at all costs is the evil guy. This is a man who has only one goal for most of the girls he interacts with, and it's never a good one. This guy is the worst of the three, and relationships with this type of guy almost always end badly, and you're likely to hear about them on the local news. In the beginning, girls will test you to make sure that you're not one of these types of guys. And once they're with you, they will continue to test you over time to make sure that you don't become one of them. So now that you know why girls test you, it's important to know how they actually do it. The truth is that all girls are different, so they all have different ways of testing you. Rather than focusing on basic examples, it's better to just get a feel for it. The better you become at intuitively spotting tests, the better you will be at handling them effectively. The biggest mistake that you can make when being tested is getting angry and giving in. A lot of guys think to themselves, I'm a strong man, I don't need to play her games or deal with these tests. But what they don't understand is that the tests occur subconsciously. As guys, if someone fails a test, we think to ourselves, okay, Bob just failed the test. But for girls, it's different. For them, when a guy fails a test, they don't think about it logically, but they feel the consequences of it subconsciously. Think about it like this. Imagine you're stranded on an island and you're checking traps that you've set for fish. When you check them and see no fish in the traps, as a man, logically, you know that you're not going to make it much longer if the traps don't start producing fish. When a girl tests you and you fail, it's like checking the traps and finding no fish. The girl doesn't logically think to herself, darn, he failed the test, so we're not going to survive. But she knows, intuitively, that if she keeps checking the traps and keeps finding no fish, eventually she's not going to survive. By failing these tests, a man will unknowingly cause a girl to lose respect for him, which causes her to lose attraction to him, which ultimately results in a complete lack of interest in him. And you can guess what happens after that. The most common test that girls use is called a congruency test, and at the core, it is basically testing you to see if what you're presenting to her on the outside is really what you have on the inside. Sometimes this test is verbal, and sometimes it's non-verbal. Some girls will run this test on you with gentle teasing or backhanded compliments. Others will flat out insult you and see how you react. Guys who don't have a lot of confidence, self-belief, or solid principles will struggle the most with congruency tests. Now, the second major type of test from a girl is called a compliance test, and it involves the girl trying to figure out how much she can get away with before you tell her no. The guy who will struggle the most with this test is the one who desperately desires a woman's approval above almost anything else. When running a compliance test, a girl will most likely ask you for many small or large favors, and the more that you try to please her and allow her to basically walk all over you, the more you will fail the test. Oftentimes, when girls are testing you, the way that you need to react to pass the test, logically, from a man's point of view, seems like the dumbest choice. This is one of the top reasons why you hear other guys saying, I just don't understand. I gave her everything she wanted in life, but it just wasn't enough. Ironically, this is precisely the complete opposite of how you were supposed to react. So, as men, how are we supposed to handle these tests? The best way to handle any test is to maintain a strong, masculine frame or mindset. One of the most attractive things that you can do as a man is to stand up for yourself. In some cases, a girl will flat out insult you just to see how far she can push you before you assert yourself and push back. When it comes to girls testing guys, 90% of the battle is actually recognizing when you're being tested. And since many guys can't do this, especially the weakest of men, they always fail the test because they have no idea what's even going on. These guys just take the situation at face value and can't understand why their girlfriend is so angry about something so trivial, not realizing what's really going on. Once you're able to recognize these tests, passing them is really easy. And as corny as this sounds, it really just comes down to being a man and knowing what you're willing to tolerate. Put simply, passing tests for girls isn't about walking around with your chest puffed out and trying to show everyone that you're a strong man. What it's really about is knowing yourself as a man and your boundaries. It's about having principles and not seeking validation. Most people are followers and not leaders. Therefore, knowing yourself, setting boundaries, and standing up for what you believe in will make a lot of people dislike you. But this is the path that will allow you to pass any test that a girl decides to throw at you. And it's a large part of what it actually means to be a man. And if you guys are into anything to do with cars and automotives, or maybe you just like Lamborghinis, be sure to check out Peter BEATIE'S Garage. who is run by Peter Beattie, a fellow YouTuber who has an awesome channel. And with that said, until next time, thanks for watching.